Becoming Rhizomatic. Becoming Rhizomatic. Marking in 2012. Warning. Empty page. A rhizome as subterranean stem is absolutely different from roots and radicals. Bulbs and tubers are rhizomes. Plants with roots or radicals may be rhizomorphic in other respects altogether. The question is whether plant life in its specificity is not entirely rhizomatic. Even some animals are, in their pack form. Rats are rhizomes. 6. Warning. Empty page. Splitting in and out, burrows are too, in all of their functions of shelter, supply, movement, evasion, and breakout. The itself assumes rhizome very diverse forms, from ramified surface extension in all directions to concretion into bulbs and tubers. When rats swarm over each other. 7. Warning. Empty page. In and out through the roof. The rhizome includes the best and the worst. Potato and couch grass, or the weed. Animal and plant. Couch grass is crabgrass. We get the distinct feeling that we will convince no one unless we enumerate certain approximate characteristics of the rhizome. 7. Characteristics of the rhizome. 7. Warning. Empty page. Through the roof. Principles of connection and heterogeneity. Any point of a rhizome to be connected to anything other, and must be. This is very different from the tree or root, which plots a point, fixes an order. 7. Warning. Empty page. Opening to through the roof. Not every trait in a rhizome is necessarily linked to a linguistic feature. Semiotic chains of every nature are connected to very diverse modes of coding, biological, political, economic, etc. That bring into play not only different regimes of science, but also states of things of differing status. 7. Warning. Empty page. Escape root. A rhizome ceaselessly establishes connections between semiotic chains, organizations of power, and circumstances relative to the arts, sciences, and social struggles. 7. Warning. Empty page. Escape route 2. A method of the rhizome type, on the contrary, can analyze language only by decentering it onto other dimensions and other registers. 8. Dimensions and other registers. 8. Warning. Empty page. Looking up concord multiplicities are rhizomatic, and expose arbors and pseudo-multiplicities for what they are. 8 inches. 8. Warning. Empty page. Rocket, puppet strings, as a rhizome or multiplicity, are tied not to the supposed will of an artist or puppeteer but to a multiplicity of nerve fibers, which form another puppet in other dimensions connected to the first. 8. Connected to the first. 8. Warning. Empty page. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. There are no points or positions in a rhizome, such as those found in a structure, tree, or root. There are only lines. 8. Only lines. 8. Warning. Empty page. One small step. The point is that a rhizome or multiplicity never allows itself to be overcoded, never has available a supplementary dimension over and above its number of lines, that is, over and above the multiplicity of numbers attached to those lines. 9. And above the multiplicity of numbers attached to those lines. 9. Warning. Empty page. Shake it. Multiplicities are defined by the outside, by the abstract line, the line of flight or deterritorialization, according to which they change in nature and connect with other multiplicities. 9. Nature and connect with other multiplicities. 9. Warning. Empty page. More sacred, a rhizome may be broken, shattered at a given spot, but it will start up, again on one of its old lines, or on new lines. 9 lines. 9. Warning. Empty page. Sitting on the dock of the bay, every rhizome contains lines of segmentarity according to which it is stratified, territorialized, organized, signified, attributed, etc., as well as lines of deterritorialization down, which it constantly flees. 6 inches. 6. Warning. Empty page. dancing to setting on the dark of the day. There is a rupture in the rhizome whenever segmentary lines explode into a line of light, but the line of light is part of the rhizome. These lines always tie back to one another. 9 inches, 9, warning, empty page, a paradise in Peckham. You may make a rupture, draw a line of light, yet there is still a danger that you will re-encounter organizations that re-stratify everything, formations that restore power to a signifier, attributions that reconstitute a subject, anything you like, from Oedipal resurgences to fascist concretions. 9. Formations that restore power to a signifier, attributions that reconstitute a subject, anything you like, from Oedipal resurgences to fascist concretions. 9. Warning, empty page, a paradise in Peckham, the king's fruit basket, the king's fruit basket. Groups and individuals contain micro-fascisms just waiting to crystallize. Yes, couchgrass is also a rhizome. Good rhizome. Good and bad are only the products of an active and temporary selection, which must be renewed. 9-10. Warning, empty page. A paradise in Peckham, wasp and orchid, as heterogeneous elements, form a rhizome. 10. Warning, empty page. A paradise in Peckham, there is neither imitation nor resemblance, only an exploding of two heterogeneous series on the line of light composed by a common rhizome. That light composed by a common rhizome that can no longer be attributed to or subjugated by anything signifying. 10. One of many follies. Evolutionary schemas would no longer follow models of arborescent descent going from the least to the most differentiated, but instead a rhizome operating immediately in the heterogeneous and jumping from one already differentiated lineage to another. 10. Warning, empty page. One more of many follies. We form a rhizome with our viruses, or rather our viruses cause us to form a rhizome with other animals. 10. Warning, empty page. One of many follies. We evolve and dimorph from our polymorphous and rhizomatic clues than from hereditary diseases, or diseases that have their own line of descent. The rhizome is an anti-genealogy. 11. Warning, empty page. Many mid-dens. The book is not an image of the world. It forms a RHism with the world. The re is an a parallel evolution of the book and the world. The book assures the deterritorialization of the world, but the world effects a reterritorialization of the book, which in turn deterritorializes itself in the world, if it is capable, if it can. 11. Warning, empty page. Inside one of the many mid-dens, the wisdom of the plants. Even when they have roots, there is always an outside where they form a rhizome with something else, with the wind, an animal, human beings, and there is also an aspect under which animals themselves form rhizomes, as do people, etc. 11. Warning, empty page. More many me dens, drunkenness as a triumphant eruption of the plant in us. 11. Warning, empty page. Something misunderstood. Always follow the rhizome by rupture, lengthen, prolong, and relay the line of flight. Make it vary until you have produced the most abstract and tortuous of lines of dimensions and broken directions. 11. Warning, empty page. More of something misunderstood, right, form a rhizome, increase your territory by deterritorialization. Extend the line of light to the point where it becomes an abstract machine covering the entire plane. Extend the line of light to the point where it becomes an abstract machine covering the entire plane of consistency. 11. Warning, empty page. I gave you too many pieces of silver. Music has always sent out lines of light, like so many transformational multiplicities, even overturning the very codes that structure or arborify it. That is why music will form, right down to its ruptures and proliferation, is comparable to a weed, 1112 Rhizome. Warning. Empty page. Raymond Williams meets Rolf Harris. A rhizome is not amenable to any structural or generative model. It is a stranger to any idea of genetic axis or deep structure. NY idea of genetic axis or deep structure. 12. Warning. Empty page. Raymond Williams meets Rolf Harris. In a rotten garden. In a rotten garden. The rhizome is altogether different. A map and not a tracing. Make a map, not a tracing. The orchid does not reproduce the tracing. The orchid does not reproduce the tracing of the wasp. It forms a map with the wasp in a rhizome. 12. Warning. Empty page. Raymond Williams meets Rolf Harris. A lay paper over the cracks. A lay paper over the cracks. The map does not reproduce an unconscious closed in upon itself. It constructs the unconscious. It fosters connections between fields. The removal of us. It fosters connections between fields. The removal of blockages on bodies without organs. The maximum opening of bodies without organs onto a plane of consistency. It is itself a part of the rhizome. 12. Warning. Empty page. Raymond Williams meets Rolf Harris. Perhaps one of the most important characteristics of the rhizome is that it always has multiple entryways. 13. Warning. Empty page. A map not a tracing. The tracing has already translated the map into an image. It has already transformed the rhizome into roots and radicals. 13. Warning. Empty page. A map not a tracing. Look at what happened to little Hans already, an example of child psychoanalysis at its purest. They kept on breaking his rhizome and blotching his map, setting it straight for him, blocking his every way out, until he began to desire his own shame and guilt, until they had rooted shame and guilt in him, phobia. They barred him from the desire his own shame and guilt, until they had rooted shame and guilt in him, phobia. They barred him from the rhizome of the building, then from the rhizome of the street. They rooted him in his parents' bed. They radicaled him to his own body. They fixated him on Professor Freud. 14. Warning. Empty page. Market forces, strike the pose or follow the axis. Genetic stage or structural destiny one way or the other. Your rhizome will be broken. You will be allowed to live and speak, but only after every outlet has been obstructed. Once a rhizome has been obstructed, arborified, it's all over. No desire stirs. For it is always by rhizome that desire moves and produces. Whenever desire climbs a tree, internal repercussions trip it up and it falls to its death. The rhizome, on the other hand, acts on desire by external, productive outgrowths. 14. Warning. Empty page. Market forces. That is why it is so important to try the other, reverse but non-symmetrical operation. Plug the tracings back into the map. Connect the roots or trees back up with the rhizome. 14. Rhizome. 14. Warning. Empty page. We become one. The same applies to the group map. So at what point in the rhizome there form phenomena of massification, bureaucracy, leadership, fascisation, etc., which lines nevertheless survive, if only underground, continuing to make rhizome in the shadows. 14 inches the shadows. 14. Warning. Empty page. We become one in many. There exist tree or root structures in rhizomes. Conversely, a tree branch or root division may begin to burgeon into a rhizome. The coordinates are determined not by theoretical analyses implying universals, but by pragmatics composing multiplicities or aggregates of intensities. 15. Warning. Empty page. We become one in many. A new rhizome may form in the heart of a tree, the hollow of a root, the crook of a branch. Or else it is a microscopic element of the root tree, a radical, that gets element of the root tree, a radical, that gets rhizome production going. 15. Warning. Empty page. Mapping not tracing. Not tracing. Accounting and bureaucracy proceed by tracings. They could begin to burgeon nonetheless, throwing out rhizome stems, are rhizome stems, as in a Kafka novel. 15. Warning. Empty page. Mapping not tracing. Not tracing. To be rhizomorphous is to produce stems and filament TS that seem to be roots, or better yet connect with them by TS that seem to be roots, or better yet connect with them by penetrating the trunk, but put them to strange new uses. 15. Warning. Empty page. Mapping not raising. Not raising. Nothing is beautiful or loving or political aside from underground stems and aerial roots, adventitious. Growth cess in rhizomes. 15. Warning. Empty page. Mapping not raising. Not raising. Many people have a tree growing in their heads, but the brain itself is much more a grass than a tree. 15. Warning. Empty page. Mapping not raising. Not raising. The same goes for memory. Neurologists and psychophysiologists distinguish between long-term memory and short-term memory on the order of a minute. The difference between them is not simply the or diagram type, rhizome or diagram type, rhizome quantitative. Short-term memory is of and long-term memory is our percent in centralized imprint, engram, tracing, or photograph. 1516. Warning. Empty page. Mapping not tracing. Not tracing. Short-term memory includes forgetting as a process. It merges not with the instant, but instead with nervous, temporal, and collective rhizome. Long-term memory, family, race, society, or civilization traces and translates, but what it translates continues to act in it, from a distance, offbeat, in an untimely way, not instantaneously. 16 in it, from a distance, offbeat, in an untimely way, not instantaneously. 16. Warning. Empty page. A boy a pool of freezing lake 120 days and nights of staggering and stammering. Warning. Empty page.
Just tea for two and two for tea. Just me for you and you for me alone. Nobody. Nobody. No.